Why I went back to school. By the last page of my last novel, the doubts had become a certainty. I couldn't keep writing fiction. I've ridden a remarkable trajectory growing up in the prehistoric era, before Wi-Fi and stumbling into midlife during the panicky present, when so much from the before times had dissolved. My first novel, The Imperfectionist, was a bestseller when I was in my mid-30s, but as tech had blipped and beeped and barged in, I watched contemporary fiction lose relevance each year. Or maybe it was just my novels. Anyway, I had decades and more. Could I become something else? So last year, in my late 40s, I enrolled alongside 20-something in a master's program at the London School of Economics to study the science of behavioral change while attempting behavioral change on myself. This plot had a twist, writer to student, proved more disorienting than I'd expected. It resuscitated me, yet tested my pride. The experience also exposed a mistake that many of us had make. I'd glued my dignity to my occupation, and it was a struggle to pry them apart. I suspect that many people will agonize over during the coming AI transformation, which may overhaul jobs and eliminate entire occupation. But these changes also present many of us with opportunity to ditch the wounding notion that we each must find a calling, then retain that identity or admit the failure. Perhaps the dignified life involves several versions of you. Or this is what I told myself, wandering around the campus with my fire engine red backpack, living scenes from a comic novel about a middle-aged fool. Your faculty, the security guard said as I searched for the new student mixer. No, the faculty are much younger. I explained, flashing my student ID and popping up the stairs to a room packed with others, starting my program. At the threshold, I hesitated in pre-mingle, that condition of wince smiling, because you don't know these people and must launch yourself at them. Surely I had overgrown self-consciousness, except you don't age out of it. You just assemble a life story, an alibi for your present self to recite whenever entering unfamiliar rooms. In this context, I had no credential. I could snatch for the old ones, tediously recounting what I'd been, or I could regress into adolescent thought like, where in the room should I stand? A fellow student approached, so she asked, "What do you teach?" I explained that I'd be sitting in class myself, though I did do a master's once before. I noted, back in the 90s. I wasn't in the 90s. How so? I wasn't in the 90s. She repeated, I didn't exist. I did, and even recall college from that era. Much remained unchanged. The dingy student pubs, the doctoral students scowling past boisterous boy men, hogging the outdoor space. Communists still lurked and still believed, prompting me to smile at my shoes when a pamphlet thruster leaped into my path. I was ready to fight for the revolution. Other aspects had changed. Students lugged gallon-sized bottles around as if entering Death Valley, though water fountains were stationed every 20 steps. Lecturers emitted flares of anxiety, tense about the students' mental health, about the tricky topics, about the course of the reviews. As for my classmates, there were a bright bunch from around the globe who marched into each lecture hall and flipped open their MacBooks, earnestly staring at the screens as if that was where the course took place. The professor, pacing as if bungee coded to the lectern, presumed himself the center of attention, but in the back I saw those wide-awake rectangles, restless clicking on Wikipedia for every name mentioned, searches for bouldering in central London, ticket bookings to Oppenheimer, job application starting, attention, World Bank. Now and then typing intensified and I glanced up from my paper notepad, wondering if this part of the lecture was more important than I'd clocked. But fast typing, I realized, usually meant messaging on WhatsApp.